Good evening, as I see Zoom is dropping you on in here, but all is well. And welcome to our Tuesday night. It's so much more wellness masterclass, and we are so glad that you are here. And this time that we share together is so valuable because any amount of time that we can take learning how we can be better and how we can more support our mind and more support our body through taking care of ourselves, through practicing very specific lifestyle behaviors that improves both our mind and body for optimal wellness, is important. And the more we know, the better that we can be. So this is really and truly about each and every single one of us being better together. And so tonight, we're switching things up just a little bit. And we're really excited about our new format. We have an amazing collective of incredible wisdom in Solle Naturals. And I know that I have had the humble honor to share my knowledge with you guys on this class over the last year, but we're going to switch it up and we are bringing on more leaders to share with you their wisdom, because the amount of collective wisdom that we have as a company is second to none. And so I don't want to anybody to miss that. I think it's really important that we share all as a collective because, again, we're better together. We're going to go ahead and kick it off. So to kick us off tonight, we are talking about CinnaMâte, hence all of the red tonight. I got my CinnaMâte going. So we're going to dive deeper into why CinnaMâte is so valuable and how it helps us. And we're going to start tonight kicking it off with Greg Halliday, our president and founder of Solle Naturals. So Greg.
Hello, Eric, and hello, everybody. But I want to tell you a little bit about CinnaMâte, why this is a lifting product, why its main objectives are to lift, elevate mood, sharpen our focus, and actually improve the whole process of metabolism. Why those three things? Because it has, if we want to say it this way, it's got its secret sauce. And I will tell you straight up front what the secret sauce is. The ingredients in there, all of them, have a direct impact in how your body manages sugars. And it sounds so funny if you're a little newer listening to this or maybe listening to a recording, but how our body manages blood sugar is one of the quickest changes to mood, both for good, up or down, and also for energy production, same thing, and also. There's a long list and it's right in the middle of all of it. So the secret sauce is that the ingredients we chose have multiple benefits, but all of them have a common benefit in that they help the body bidirectionally manage sugar levels. That means whether they need to move up more for us to be in balance and have this elevated mood, great focus, and energy, or whether they need to be dialed down a little bit, it actually has in spades nutrients on both sides of that need, and the body's able to choose what it needs. So let me just dive in a little bit and tell you with my notes what ingredients we chose. And just a couple little factoids. I hope they're just helpful. They spur some thought. They maybe open some, turn on some light bulbs where we're all able to manage our own health and also help other people with this same information so that they can have that same feeling of control in their own life. The first ingredient is yerba mate. What if I were to tell you that the reason we chose this, yerba mate is quite well known in Europe. Unfortunately, it is inexplicably little known here. Inexplicably, I'll say, because for many, many years, there has been research so impressive that the Pasteur Institute in France said many years ago, you can search the world over and you will be hard pressed to find any plant more nutritious. Now, I hope that got a little bit of attention from someone who may be hearing that for the first time. Why? Because we're talking about almost approaching anyway, nearly 200 vitamins, minerals, and beneficial compounds, among them amino acids, a great number of them, and many components that you would recognize, all in this wonderful evergreen plant. It is not a tea, it's drunk as a tea, but it is actually an evergreen tree in the holly family. And guess what? Writings on it, France, writings in India, writings in England, where yerba mate is talked about as a major treatment for fatigue, weight loss, headaches. That's in Britain. For nervous depression, fatigue, rheumatic pains. That's in India. And many others. I mentioned how nutritious it is. Some people wonder if we also will use a multivitamin when we're drinking a beverage like CinnaMate. Well, I haven't found one that's anywhere close to as packed with nutrients as CinnaMate. So what does it serve well there? It serves exceptionally well. Not well. It far outpaces anything that you're going to take on that level. What people don't always know about yerba mate, it actually is antimicrobial in its nature. There are lots of studies that show, for instance, that viruses can't replicate, so they don't spread when yerba mate is in the diet. That other pathogens, other bacteria, other harmful bacteria, are neutralized. It also happens to be a wonderful support to bone health and strong bones. So there are a couple other facts about why yerba mate is so wonderful. That's just the first ingredient. Now there are just a few others. I would say they're complementary because yerba mate is so complete that it's really hard to me to compare anything to it. But in the name CinnaMate, obviously you can guess the next ingredient, cinnamon. But there are three of them, three different types, two different separately processed extracts of cinnamon bark, because they're processed to have different concentrations and activity levels, with the main focus being mental clarity and focus, and also mood elevation. Cinnamon is wonderful. In addition, there's great research on this topic we've talked about, blood sugar modulating, blood sugar normalizing. So cinnamon has that. Now, besides the two barks, there's also cinnamon oil. We're talking food grade cinnamon oils, because they also do some wonderful mental boosting and mental lifting, are a key part of that focus. In addition to CinnaMate, or to the cinnamon and the yerba mate, we have three other ingredients: Banaba leaf, and I'll just tell you one sentence on Banaba leaf. Again, loaded with amino acids. People don't always know that. There's lots of great plant proteins in this, but it has a substance called corosolic acid that's been studied clinically for its great nutritional properties to help the body manage, again, blood sugars. And then you have Nopal cactus. Nopal cactus, if I had to list these among these five ingredients, what I would most nearly liken to yerba mate would be Nopal. Because why? Nopal is an adaptogen. Dr. Mary Fernandez showed that Nopal has plant compounds that help our body lower the levels of sugar in the blood. And Nopal also has other compounds that raise it. So whether you're high or low, I'm hypoglycemic, I feel great when I eat, and then I dive 2 hours later, or whether I have a problem keeping the blood sugar down where they're supposed to be, which is the diabetic side, Nopal cactus has nutrition that is beneficial to me that my body can use. And it also happens to be loaded with nutrients. It's a very nutritionally dense plant that should be, in my opinion, a wonderful part of every daily diet. And then the last one is thyme. So, it's a kitchen herb, right? It's something that people keep in their kitchen, and again, has its own wonderful secret sauce. So much certain minerals that are key to digestion, and particularly the digestion of sugars. Thyme is great in that, but it also has substances in it like thymol, which are amazing immune modulators. I haven't talked about this tonight, but CinnaMate is also like a great one in there. And I'll leave that alone because perhaps someone else will talk about it. So CinnaMate is a signature drink. Obviously, that's our 4 signature drinks are the standard. You could say for very, very often they're the starting place, the foundational place, and meant to be something that can always be at least rotated in for daily use, or perhaps CinnaMate is one that you just always make part of every day and you don't miss it. It's that good and accumulative in its properties. So back to you, Erica.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love hearing about all of the herbs, because every single time, it doesn't matter. I've been listening to these trainings on all different of the products for like 5.5 years now. And every single time I learn something new. And it really gives me the appreciation of the formulas that we have. But I drink CinnaMate every single day, and it really makes me appreciate like what it's doing inside my body. Like I don't always know, but I know it's doing good stuff in there. And so I'm really excited about that. So next up, you might hear all these herbs and you're like, okay, so how would I use these? Like, how are they really going to benefit me? And so first up tonight, we have Miss Deborah Perez Cockburn, and she's going to be telling us if I was not feeling well, or if I had a health challenge, how will CinnaMate help?
Hey, Erica, thanks so much. And I am like you, CinnaMate, part of my daily, all day long. I probably take anywhere between 3 and 4, just depending on the day. And I will tell you why. Okay, so what I love about CinnaMate, especially if you are facing health challenges, okay, this is how CinnaMate can help you. Number 1, Greg mentioned all the wonderful amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. We all know that we have vitamins that we need to take daily that our body doesn't make, right? And our body doesn't hold on to them. Vitamin C is one of those. CinnaMate, excellent source of vitamin C. Again, you have that Yerba mate, you have the Thyme, you have the Banaba in there, right? And the Nopal. Because it's so wonderful, if you face digestive issues, Nopal is an amazing healing plant, right? Like aloe, if you think about what Nopal looks like on the inside, think about aloe. And think about what aloe does for the digestive system, right? So it's very healing, it's very soothing, but because it has this adaptogenic property to it, Nopal is wonderful for the nervous system. So if you're a person who kind of suffers with maybe anxiety, right? Anxiety means that your body is way stressed out. The adaptogens in this combination are going to help lower things like anxiety. But if you suffer from slight depression, it will help elevate the mood. So when you heard Greg talking about mood enhancement or mood elevation or mood balancing, even though it's in the red category, lifting, its major property is going to be to give energy to the organs and the systems that are low. But because there's so much adaptogenic power in it, it's going to help it. If it's super high, it will bring it down without calming the nervous system. So you're looking at nervous system help. So if, and again, anxiety, depression, that will benefit you. But remember that he said it's got antiviral properties. So now we're looking at how it will help you if you are immune challenged, right? If you're a person who suffers from UTIs all the time, you want something good antiviral. You don't want anything that's going to destroy the good flora in your intestines, right? So something like CinnaMate is going to be wonderful. Because it's going to help strengthen the adrenal glands, which means it will help strengthen the kidneys, right? So now if you have water retention or anything like that, you are automatically going to be able to eliminate all the excess liquids that accumulate. You're going to be able to help with balancing. What I love about it being in the lifting category is you're going to get some immense circulatory benefits, right? So if you struggle with heart disease or any kind of imbalance in the circulatory system, you have poor circulation. this is going to be a great one for you. So I don't like to mention diseases, but I do like to talk about imbalances. So sometimes you might recognize those names. Another thing really quickly before before my time is up, Erica, is I was thinking about what Greg said about bone density. And a lot of women who are perimenopausal or postmenopausal or menopausal right now, bone density is a big issue, right? Most of you know that I took a tumble like about a year and a half ago. I got away with a very small hairline fracture. I really attribute that to my use of all of the Soul products, but it's no wonder CinnaMate is one of the foundational drinks. And I know for a fact it is a bone density staple in my life. I would not have been able to be standing or walking today from the fall I took during the construction of our home, landed on the concrete slab from the second floor to the first, and just have a hairline fracture. Okay, the doctor said, I don't know what you're taking, but your bones are so hard. It's great. So that means they're not going to be porous, right? So think in Chinese philosophy, when you talk about anything that strengthens circulatory, it's going to strengthen also the urinary system. And the urinary system is directly linked to the structural system, right? And so now you have something that's proven for bone density, but if you struggle with gout, things like arthritis, scoliosis, this is going to be a great product for you. So I know you asked me to talk about people who face health challenges and why they would benefit from a product like this. They would definitely. I mean, digestion, concentration, mental focus, how your body, your metabolic function, that's everything. It's how your body uses, stores, and makes energy. Okay. And we know it as how the body breaks down sugars, right? So if you have any issues with blood sugars, we've already talked about that because of the 3 forms of cinnamon in there and the nopal, right? So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to remember. And finally, for girls my age, I'll be 64 in a couple of months. For girls my age who struggle with whatever lines or whatever, it's a great skin product as well. So you're going to be, when you look at the structural system, you think about your skin, your bones, your teeth, your connective tissue, right? So again, pain management, it is great for bringing down inflammation. So it's a wonderful pain management. And if you're like me and you don't like to take over-the-counter NSAIDs, this would be a great one to combine, right? In your shake, like we've talked in the past, Erica, you can put it in there with your shake and your Soul Royal, and it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to your daily use. Thanks.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Debbie. I appreciate all of that wisdom that you shared. And it's interesting because I always look at like anytime that I kind of feel like something's coming on, CinnaMate is like a go-to. Like my body just knows, okay, I'm going to grab this. And sometimes I'll put like some Soul Clear in it or something like that. But I just know if I go to CinnaMate, sometimes I'll put CinnaMate and Renew together. And I like don't really get sick. Like I know it's coming on. I go ahead and drink that. And then later, nothing ever really comes about it. And so it really fortifies my system to be able to power up, so to speak, against anything that it's battling at the time. And so thank you so much for sharing that. Next up, we are going to hear from Miss Valerie Bledsoe, and she's going to be hailing in. She sent me a video, but she's going to be talking to us about what would we do if we are not health challenged, right? And if we're healthy, like how do we do then?
So you've heard about all the amazing things that CinnaMate can do, and you're thinking, wow, I would love to take that, but I don't have issues with diabetes, or I don't have issues with my digestion. Is it still going to benefit me? The answer is yes. In fact, I have many people that ask me things like this, and I tell them, you know what, it's so important to be proactive for your health, and CinnaMate is one of the formulas that I really like to use to do that. So let's go over some of the reasons. One of the reasons has to do with the dense nutrition that's in this. As you've heard by now, there is so many vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, and it's in a format that is so easy to assimilate. Often people, well-meaning, might take supplements that have either a synthetic format or it's isolated and they just can't assimilate it as well. So this gives your digestive tract the opportunity to get those full benefits. And of course, with the adaptogens, like we have in all of our formulas, you will also get the benefits for how it helps your body to deal with stress, because that's just part of daily life, how your body can adapt and work with that. And I'm all about building your health savings account so that if the time ever comes, hopefully you won't have to deal with this, but if the time ever comes where you have to pull from it, that you've got something to use. Think of it like your bank account. If you're overdrafted, you can't spend anything because there's nothing to back it. But if you put enough money in to stop getting those overdraft notices, yeah, you may have stopped getting the notices, but you still have nothing to spend. But once you actually put money back into the bank, same with nutrition in our body, then you have something to pull from if you need it for a rainy day. And just like I went through 3.5 years ago when my husband was so ill, I had spent years building up my health savings account, and I had it to pull from when I needed it. So it's always beneficial when we can do things like that. And the way the adaptogens work in these formulas, they actually allow the body to do that. This also helps your body from getting nutrient depletion, from having to pull or try to pull from something when there's not something there. When you're end up dealing with nutrient depletion, it can cause a whole domino or list of things that can start to happen in the body. And often, actually the majority of the time, it's happening before we even realize it. And that's so neat with these formulas and with adaptogens, because our body knows how to use them. They're smart herbs, so to speak. Body can take them and build it the way it needs to. Then you are more prepared, and you're dealing with things before they can become an issue. Now, of course, CinnaMate is excellent at helping to support stamina. So many people these days turn towards energy drinks to try and counter for maybe lack of sleep, not eating a good enough diet, having poor health lifestyle, maybe they don't exercise. And those types of drinks actually cause that nutrient depletion. It pushes the body even further, and it can tax the adrenals. And so if you're using this on a daily basis, then you're already putting into place something for the body to draw on, as opposed to depleting yourself and to go the distance when you need to. In fact, there's quite a few people that will use this at the time of day, maybe when they're often would get tired, but they weren't having enough of an issue to have a diagnosable disease, which brings me to blood sugar issues in your genetics. You know, just because you're not exhibiting an issue, my belief is if you know it's in the family, that maybe you ought to be proactive in shoring up your foundation or your health so that you hopefully will never exhibit it. But if you do, it's either later in life or not as hard on the body as it could have been. Blood sugar issues is a great thing that this helps address. And everyone can always use support for helping their digestive tract to work, ideally, for keeping the whole insulin dance and keeping blood sugar regulated that needs to be done, so that we're being proactive. We don't want, it's not ideal to wait until your body's in a disease state before you start addressing it. It's a whole lot harder to do that. So to be proactive with that, you know, for instance, my family, there's diabetes all over in it. I have no issues with my blood sugar. I take the CinnaMate daily. I've never been diagnosed with any, officially with any blood sugar issues, but I know that I continue to feel good. And I run circles around so many other people that are my age, which I'll be 59 in September. So many people are surprised that I'm the age that I am. Well, I've done a lot of proactive work with my health as well as dealing with actual issues that I knew that I had. Now, antioxidant properties, this is very high in that. And every day, in everyday life, we're being put in situations where we're exposed to things that cause rusting, so to speak, in the body. and just general wear and tear, general exposure. So to have a buffer there or something to counter that, that's a good plan, because you don't always have time to go, wait, world, wait, I got to go take some antioxidants first before I deal with this. No, we're in life and every day. So to have that already in your system is only going to benefit you. Cholesterol. We all know people that struggle with cholesterol issues. But remember, cholesterol being out of balance is an indicator that there's other underlying issues going on. Cholesterol has a job to do, and it helps to help our brain health, helps us, our hormones are out of it. There's multiple purposes for cholesterol. The CinnaMate and the plants that are in it help to keep the cholesterol balanced and regulated like it should be. A perfect example, my husband went to the VA to do the yearly physical, and they'd drawn his blood, and they were already talking to him like, well, with your age, I can't believe you're not on a cholesterol medicine. Why don't we put you on one? And that was part of the conversation, amongst some other things. He said, how about we wait and get my blood back first? When they got his blood back, it was ideal. It was perfect. They were still blown away that he was on no medications. But I'm so thankful that we've been able to be proactive, because he does have CinnaMate every single day. And do I have proof that that is keeping it in check? No. But do I know that's absolutely helping the body to support it and keep it where it should be? Yes, I do know that. And like I'm saying here too, it's so much more cost effective to be proactive with your health as opposed to being reactive. I mean, many of us have heard that, and we may be looking at the cost for getting those supplements on a monthly basis. But when you really break it down, it is so much less expensive, so much more affordable.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for sharing. And I want to reiterate that it is really affordable to keep ourselves healthy, way more affordable than a reactive approach of, once we get ill, having to, try to fix everything, right? And I always tell people, nothing feels as good as being healthy and vibrant all throughout our lives, right? And that is really a priceless thing, right? And so investing in ourselves and investing in our nutritional supports really makes sense, really in the long run. And so next I invited Tanya Johnson, and she's going to come and she's going to tell us really her soul story and how she incorporates soul into her life, and what she has experienced as a result. So Tanya?
Okay, thanks for having me on tonight to share my story. And I'm going to be like Greg. I'm going to stare at my notes. Well, at least a little bit. Okay, so anyway, for as long as I can remember, I've always experienced anxiety. I really didn't know that that's what it was, but because I figured how I was feeling was really just normal. I also dealt with a lot of depression, but again, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that it was called depression. I always just thought that is who I am. I never talked about it because I didn't know how. And actually, nobody talked about it back then. Like, maybe I would have known how then, right? But people are talking about it now, and I'm really happy about that. And I think we need to actually talk about it a lot more. Anyway, over the years, because of the stress and the anxiety and the depression, I believed that it brought on my gut issues, and it brought on my joint discomfort. And it also had a big impact on how well I slept, which wasn't very well. So later on in my adult life, when I started to learn more about what anxiety and depression is and how the mind and the body are basically one, I realized what was going on with me. Learning about the mind and the body actually really helped me connect the dots from when this all started. I had a lot of trauma in my childhood, and so it all started to make sense. All the things that I went through actually conditioned my brain to react the way that it did. You know, I've always leaned towards the natural side of dealing with my health issues, especially after I had some very serious, like almost causing death side effects from prescribed medication. And I also cannot even do over-the-counter meds. Like, we're just not friends at all. So before Solle Naturals, I have found products that helped me along the way, but sometimes they just would stop working, or maybe they wouldn't like work very well. Like they would maybe a little bit, but not like when I first started them. And so I wanted to feel better. I knew there had to be an answer. So I kept searching. So this brings me to the best part, well, one of the best parts. One day on Facebook, I got a friend request, and it was from my dear friend, Erica Sanchez. Obviously, she wasn't my friend then, but at that point, but you know, I don't normally go straight to check out who sent me a friend request. Like, that's just not me. But something said, you need to just go and see who this person is. And so I did. And I looked at her profile and I saw like Ayurvedic herbs. And I was like, wait a minute. And I'll tell you, this actually happened after the previous night. I prayed with lots of tears for a solution for myself and for my husband. So I said to her, sent her a message, and I said, can we have a phone call? Now, that's not me. I'm not that person that just says, can we get on the phone? I might have messaged her, but something just said, I need to talk to her. So we talked, and I did start taking some Ayurvedic herbs, which are some of the products that worked at first, but then stopped working. So we kept looking. We became friends and kept on going, and with our friendship, and she found Solle Naturals. So of course, she's going to tell me about it. And when I got my products, I have to tell you, on day one, I actually noticed a huge difference in how I felt. It was so incredible that I was in disbelief myself. Like, I was like, is this really happening? But it was. I was experiencing. So of course I knew it was real. You know, I just felt really good. And again, I almost didn't believe it. So after a while, I came to realize that all of me felt good. My mind felt great. My body felt great. And my mind was calm. I never felt this way before on anything else. Then I started noticing that my gut issues went away. My joint discomfort was so much better. And my sleep, my sleep is amazing. It's so sound, like, I can't even tell you. It's so incredible. And like, even if I only get like 4 hours of sleep, which that doesn't happen very often, but if it does happen, I can wake up and feel incredible. Like I had a full night's sleep. And to me, that's amazing. I also started to realize that my mind would respond so much better to stress. I didn't start freaking out or going down the worry road, and I'm able to deal with things so much better now. Also, the traumas of the past, they didn't seem to haunt me like they did before. And I told Erica about this because I was like, you know, I'm not being triggered, or maybe something will come up, and it just didn't affect me the same way. So when I told her about it, she told me something so amazing that still today, I can't even wrap my head around it, but it happens. She said, your body stores trauma, and these products help your body release that trauma. And I'm like, no way. Like, how can that happen? I'm still blown away by it, because I'm thinking I'm just putting something into my body, but whatever it is, it's like magic. Over time, it helps my body release that trauma. To me, that's really incredible. The very best part for me is with the Solle Naturals. It helped me, and I think everything it's done, and it's done so much more for me, is that I've been able to share Solle Naturals with my family, and they have overcome so many challenges with taking the products. Thanks for letting me share.
I love it. And I love your story. And I've been on the journey with you this whole time, but I still love hearing you share it because it's super impactful. And it reminds me every day how amazing these products are and how blessed we are by these formulas, really and truly, because I know what they've done for me, but sometimes you take them so often that you almost like, it's like, yeah, of course they do that. But when you hear other people's stories and you hear about other people's, transformations, it raises your belief level just completely to a whole new level. And so thank you so much for taking the time to share tonight. Real quick, Tanya, what is your favorite product?
Oh, man. Honestly, that is a tough one, but I have to say the one I like the most, the very first product I like the most, and I still love it today, is actually CinnaMate. And I think it's because I love cinnamon. Like, I just love cinnamon. And so that was one that was very easy to drink. And yeah, I'm going to say CinnaMate. And I actually drink 2-3 a day. So, because I love it so much.
Awesome. And so what's your favorite way to take it? Like, what's your favorite way to make it?
Well, on the daily, I will make it with coconut milk. And it's not just like coconut milk, like kind you buy in liquid form. It's an organic coconut powder. And what I like about that is I can put as much in it as I want to make it as creamy as I want. But I have to tell you, I love hot cocoa and cinnamon. So on special, not really special occasions, but like just certain times, especially in the fall and the winter time, it's like it makes the best hot chocolate ever. So
I love it. And that is always a good little treat. And if you haven't heard me say this before, if you're going to have a treat, especially a sweet treat, if you take your CinnaMate with it and even mix it together, it cancels that sweet treat out. And so you're welcome to enjoy your pie, your cupcakes, and whatever, as long as you follow it up with a CinnaMate, you're good. And so, just a secret tip for you as you're going through your summer and enjoying all the treats of summer as well. It even works with ice cream, I promise. And we always do a Q&A and answer your questions because that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that you are served in anything that you need. So if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. And I got all kinds of support tonight. So you can ask away. Thank you. Wonderful information. And I wholeheartedly agree with all of that. Yeah, I completely agree with sugar stopping nutrition absorption. And that's the reason why we need to take our CinnaMate and cancel it all out.
Hey, Erica.
Uh-huh.
Can I show you a CinnaMate memory that's right along your sweet treat thing?
You sure can.
Okay.
You absolutely can.
Just forgive me if this ruins anything. We recorded this like 7-8 years ago in Solle. Okay, here we go. Delicious. Oh my gosh. I don't always drink herbal beverages when I have my pumpkin pie, but when I do, I prefer CinnaMate. Stay healthy, my friends.
The most interesting man in
I
Solle.
couldn't resist. It's an old one. It's like 8 years old.
I love it. And I wasn't going to say anything about, your age in that one, Greg. But since you put it out there, yeah, it's looking fabulous. Awesome. So let's see. Love it. Stay healthy, my friends. It's such a good one. I'm telling you, definitely, keep those in mind. Drink your CinnaMate anytime that you're having your treats.
It's so important, Erica, because the sugar is the root cause of inflammation. chronic inflammation will lead to a cascade of things going on in your body. So yeah, if you're going to have the sweet treat, I totally agree. Follow it up with a CinnaMate or a double CinnaMate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Sue, I see your question here about CinnaMate helping with cholesterol. So there are several ingredients, but like just even one of them is like the Nopal. If you research that, you're going to see all kinds of ingredients. I like to think of it like Drano, right? For your veins, like it goes in and it kind of like cleans everything out a little bit. And it has that, that it's like a little slimy kind of feeling a little bit. And so that really goes, it doesn't just help the gut and everything else, but it kind of goes and helps all of our, lines, whatever they are in our body. So that's one. Basically, if you looked at every single ingredient in CinnaMate, you're going to find studies that show how it supports that. But that's just one off the top of my head really quick, because it's the number one that I go to all the time for that particular issue. Yeah, so I would definitely, Rosa, consider if it's right for her. CinnaMate is incredible for blood sugar balance. And I say that because I don't have any like blood sugar issues as far as, all the time. But if I eat like a cupcake or something, I can measure it and it goes up. And if I drink a CinnaMate, I can measure it and I know that it goes down. I can see it. So it's not just something I say, I actually know that it really works. And so because of that, I also know that it works for others. And although Tanya didn't share this today, but I also happen to know that her husband, when he started, he had a lot of blood sugar issues, and the doctor had put him on prescriptions for that. And since he's been on Solle, the doctor has removed him from all prescriptions and actually removed the original diagnosis that he had. So, I know I have, and that's just one story, right? We have so many of those same stories. And for some people, we know it's CinnaMate because that could be the only thing they take. But of course, we do encourage, taking, a balanced program as much as possible. I agree with you, Denise. Many times cholesterol problems are rooted in sugar consumption or imbalances. Yeah, it's like we've, it's all connected, right? It's all connected all the time. And so we see that often. So with that, it looks like most of the questions have gotten answered. And I want to thank you so much for sharing y'all's stories with CinnaMate as well. I especially like this one about, I don't know if it was the CinnaMate or the Soul Vital, but when I did the Zumba and the hike to the waterfall, which was at Solle Ignite, normally I'm sore for days because I had not done any kind of aerobics for years, but I did not get sore at all. And I was shocked. And that is, I just think that how our body really takes in these herbs and how it's able to utilize them to help us to live the best life possible is really, really, really amazing. I agree with you, Cassie. Sugar is definitely a drug, and it's probably more addictive than heroin. So we do want to say no as much as possible. And can you take more than one IMBO? Oh, CinnaMate? Sure. You can. So just listen to your body and kind of judge what's good for you. I will tell you that for me personally, if I have more than 3 CinnaMate in a day, I kind of feel a little bit on edge at that point. So I know that's a little too much for me. And so I'll usually have to cut it with Renew at that point if I've gotten to that. And so I have to like chase it with a Renew to keep it balanced. But so I just kind of listen to my body. Same thing for you. Just listen to your body and you can adjust anything. And just like all the rest of our formulas, they're safe to use in as large of a quantity or as, small of a quantity that you need, right? So you can up level, you can go down, exactly what your body needs. It's safe to use. And so you just got to pay attention to your body. And I will tell you, for a lot of people, when they get started, that whole concept of paying attention to their body is actually new, right? But it's really the best way. And so it's easier for me to say, pay attention to your body. Your body will give you signs and you'll know if it's not right for you. to go up or down. So with that, I want to thank every single person for joining us tonight. I especially want to thank all of the people who shared their incredible wisdom and also their testimonials tonight as well. And we can't wait to come back next week. Come join us next week, invite your friends. So with that, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you everybody for coming, and have a great night. Bye-bye.